Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel. Have you ever been in a situation where you had a tough issue to address with someone and you just didn't know how to say things? Those kind of situations happen all the time. Say your neighbor's dog is barking constantly, you cannot rest, you would like to maintain good neighborly relationships, at the same time you would like to approach your neighbor and talk about this a bit. Or another situation can be that you're at work and you're supposed to do a project with someone, you feel like you're doing the lion's share and you'd like to talk about this with the colleague, but you, again, don't know how to exactly put it. And last, what if your boss is a micromanager and instead of giving you the freedom that you feel like you deserve and you can handle, she's just constantly telling you what to do? All three situations can very easily occur and they are tough to talk about. I'm Adrienne Olson. I'm a university lecturer and communications consultant. In this video, I will give you 5 practical steps as to how you can address such a situation in a way that you will be heard and you will hurt no one's feelings. For our purpose of illustration, let's take a concrete example. It's always easier to understand things in concrete terms than just in theory, right? So let's take the example of a young sales professional. Let's call her Eve. Eve has a fairly new job and she regularly has to give proposals to her boss, who is much more experienced. She does a great job with the proposals. However, her boss oftentimes sends them back, pointing out minute details that she would like to be different. Eve, after a while, starts to feel very frustrated, controlled. She feels like she cannot do her work properly. It takes her a lot of extra time and would really like to talk about this situation with her boss. On the other hand, she definitely wants to maintain good relations with her boss and not lose her job by any incident or accident. So how can Eve have a great conversation with her boss, have it to be fruitful, and keep her job and continue her work in a more pleasant and productive manner? That is the concrete example we are going to walk through. Step number 1 is just a general neutral statement, basically asking the other party's permission for this conversation to take place. She could say something like, "I'd like to talk to you about our recent email communication. Is this a good time for you?" A neutral statement like that will do 2 things. 1, it will give people a sense of autonomy because they can say, if they want to, that this is not a good time, and then you can just postpone the conversation when it's more convenient for the other party. It also gives them a little bit of heads up about what's coming. Feedback is coming, so they can mentally prepare themselves. Step 2 is perhaps the trickiest part of this whole process. In step 2, we describe the facts. And here, really be sure to stick to the facts and not attack or not make any judgment about the other person's character. For example, in this concrete situation, instead of Eve saying, "You are a control freak," what she needs to do is describe what exactly happened. Describe what she heard and what she saw. For example, she could say, "This week we had 8 email exchanges about details of my proposal." Step number 3 is an impact statement. In this statement, we summarize the consequences of the other party's action, because this is an important part. Because the other party, even if you describe what happened, might not see this as a problem. So if it is a problem for you, here's your opportunity to describe why that is. In our concrete example, Eve could say, "As a result, I was delayed in my work and was not able to get to the next project on time." In the next step, step number 4, you can briefly state how you felt or how you feel about what is happening. This is somewhat of an optional step, but I think it's a good thing to add because most people do care about the relationship with you, even if it's a work situation, not a personal relationship. So Eve, for example, could just say something really simple like, I felt frustrated and somewhat controlled when this happened. And step number 5 is when you suggest a solution. In this case, for example, Eve could say, I would prefer if you give me a few actionable points of change at one time so that I can focus more on my work. If you're talking to a superior, then I think coming up with a solution and just leave it at that, phrasing it kindly, is enough. If you happen to be the superior, then I think it's a very good strategy for you to ask the person whom you're talking to at the end what kind of solution he or she sees as a possibility. So you could still state your own and then just ask something like, what do you think? Or what do you think would work? This way, you will get more of a collaboration, cooperation, rather than just a commitment. Before you address any kind of tough conversation with anyone, before you give constructive feedback, the situation has to be set up right. You need to choose the time right, you need to choose the place right, and it's preferable to address such things in private. For more details about this, as to how to set up the conversation right, I will link another video to you in the description. I will also put it up here so that you can consult it before you go through these steps. Using this simple 5-step process of constructive feedback, you can address just about any issue with anyone in any situation. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I wish you fruitful and friendly conversations with all the people in your life.